Hi, my name is Joe Kennedy. I'm a former member of Congress and president of Citizens Energy. One of my great pleasures is to be able to work deeply in communities that we serve here at Citizens Energy, and before as a member of Congress, and also was a founder of Groundwork Project, a nonprofit that I started that's doing a lot of work in other parts of the country. Citizens Energy is a nonprofit that my dad has started about 45 years ago. It's an energy company that we run as a business, but the revenues flow up to a nonprofit parent and give the money away. So here in Massachusetts, we have a shelter heat program. We support about 120 homeless shelters and food pantries across the state by supporting their energy bills during winter to try to make sure that folks can be able to keep warm in the coldest months. We've been doing that for years. We're also the largest provider of low-income community solar in the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so trying to make sure that we're able to navigate an energy transition that we need here in Massachusetts, but making sure low-income folks don't get left behind. We're really proud of both of those here at Citizens. And Groundwork Project seeks to support local communities around the country that oftentimes don't get the support and investment that they need. So places like the Deep South and Appalachia, the Plains, West Virginia, Mississippi, and Alabama, supporting issues like voting rights and civil rights and local environmental justice. Places like the Mississippi Delta, and so that work is incredibly rewarding as well. For anybody that might need access to additional support or help navigating their energy bills, they certainly can call us here at Citizens Energy, 617-338-6300. We're happy to try to provide support, even if we can, or connect them to the right folks. Fostering joy in communities is so important because it is the bedrock, fundamental, I think, objective of all of the other structures of our life. The point of trying to go to work and keep a roof over your head and raise strong kids and be able to be part of a community is to find some measure of fulfillment, and I think a fundamental right that we all have is to be able to make sure we're in a society where, yes, success can be an achievement, but people don't deserve to have to wake up every day terrified, wondering whether they're going to find a way to make ends meet. And so the opportunities to have institutions that are dedicated to creating the spaces and opportunities and relationships to bring joy to communities, it's what makes communities stronger. It's what makes life worth living. And the East Boston Social Centers has been at this for so many years, for so many generations of families in East Boston, but around Massachusetts. And the fact that this is a focal point of your efforts speaks to the extraordinary legacy that East Boston Social Centers has built up over its over 100 years of service, and to the leadership team here, that it's not just about trying to make sure that basic needs are met. It's about recognizing that people deserve to enjoy their life, that people should be celebrated and families recognized and lifted up, and that we all deserve to smile and laugh. I think there's an awful lot that we can do to try to increase joy across our communities, particularly in this moment. A lot of folks are feeling uncertain. Many are feeling scared. The future for many is shaky, and there's a lot that communities can do to try to ease some of that anxiety and ease some of that burden. There's roles for local community organizations like East Boston Social Centers, creating space and opportunities for communities to come together, for relationships to build, for people to find comfort in each other and relationship with each other. There's certainly a big role here for government to understand what the challenges are that communities are confronting and try to remove those sources of anxiety. So if people can't afford housing because we don't have enough housing inventory across our community, so costs of housing are too high, well, let's make housing more affordable. Let's find ways to build more housing. Let's find ways to support housing and support renters. If there's a problem getting kids high quality education, let's work on our schools. Let's increase access to early education. Let's address the cost of early education, because we know that in fact early education for our children is some of the best dollars that government can spend, and it has multi-generational impact in our communities. If we're concerned about the clean air we breathe and clean water we drink, well, let's make those investments in addressing the needs of our climate, because it's something that we all share. We all are going to breathe that same air. We're all going to drink that same water. So I don't think you can legislate joy. It's hard to government to tell people to be happier. But what we can do is understand what's literally keeping people up at night. What are those structures that are making people scared, fearful, uneasy, those sorts of things of anxiety, and let's try to address them. Obviously, another one that I worked on when I was in office, and sadly still we've not resolved, is the challenges of our immigration system, trying to make sure that the government is providing a stable, reasonable series of immigration laws, and at the moment that's not the case. And so what can communities and families do to come together to support one another in this time of uncertainty, and how can local organizations and institutions support that and support them is another thing. There was an interesting article that just came out in the New York Times about this study that came out looking at the fact that over the course of the past several decades, the United States has gotten wealthier on a whole, but our quality of our community engagement, quality of life has actually gone down quite markedly compared to other wealthier nations. And one of the big pieces it points to is social isolation, right? The fact that people are on their phones, they're not in communities, the fact that have, particularly post-COVID, withdrawn, are more isolated, don't have the same level of friendships and relationships, seek companionship through looking at smartphones or stuff online rather than being out with groups of friends, spending time with kids or families, literally going on dates, social lives, and all of that has suffered. But when we see those social fabrics fraying, humans are actually social creatures, and what we need to do is find ways to rebuild and restructure and reinvest in that community engagement, create those spaces that brings people together. And gosh, nobody does that better across Massachusetts and I would argue around the country, than East Boston Social Center, something that is an organization that has been grounded in community for so long, but is responsive to community, understanding that there's a unique role for organizations and institutions like this to be a space that people can come together, from little kids to grandparents, and lean on each other, support one another, address the challenges that we're all confronting, and know that we're stronger together when we do so. And through that creates relationships, that creates bonds, that enables a resilience to get through these challenging moments. And so, I think not only as per usual is East Boston Social Center addressing these concerns, but you've been way ahead of that curve. And know that community East Boston deserves to be able to smile and celebrate and enjoy their daily life, and that there's a role that we all can play in supporting that in order to make it to come to pass. Look, I'm a dad in my mid-40s. That life is very full at the moment between work and kids. And work and our success in some of the programs that we do that help low-income families certainly provides me an awful lot of satisfaction, gratification. But I think like a lot of dads out there, the thing that I look forward to at the end of each day is telling the kids. They're young enough where they still like to hang out with my wife and I. They're old enough where they're little people with opinions and perspectives, and a lot of laughs and a lot of activity. And so the chance to be able to play with them and spend time with them is something that I very much enjoy.